Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second anniversary Roll Plus Bond stream. We've got 72 hours of games coming up for you, and we're starting with Stewpot, which is really charming, really fun, really mellow for those people who are watching where it just turned midnight. But for me, I'm Kai. You can use she and her for me. And I'm actually on the line from Taiwan. So it's the middle of the day. It's pretty nice out. And I'm joined by HB.
Hello, I'm HB. My pronouns are they, them, and it is 7 a.m.
Oh boy, very nice. We've also got Xander with us.
Hi, I'm Xander. You can use they, them, or he, him for me. I It's 9 p.m. here, so not too late, not too early.
I think we're all at a good time for a cozy game, probably. Mostly maybe Xander, but that's okay because we're playing primarily for us, but I mean also for everyone watching and for all the people watching. I mentioned it's a charity stream, and the charity this year is NARF, the Native American Rights Fund. If you type !donate in the Twitch chat, you'll get some links for it to learn more. And you can always donate by going to donate.rollplusbond.com. But basically, the Native American Rights Fund was founded in 1970, and it's focused on defending the rights of Indian tribes, organizations, and individuals. Asserting and defending them, which it's really sad that the asserting needs so much doing, but it does. And that's why we're fundraising. So, yeah, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We have some lovely people moderating that. But for now, let's get straight into the game, which, like we said, is Stewpot. It's by Takuma Okada. And we are using this really nice gameplay sheet put together by Libby Horacek. And yeah, we're just going to jump right in unless you've got anything else to say, HB or Xander?
I forgot Libby made the sheet. God damn,
I know,
Libby
right?
rules.
It's such a good sheet. I believe it's also linked straight from the itch.io page. So when you download this game, if you do a quick scroll, you will be able to see the download option for this because Libby shared it for the whole wide world. Basically, what this game is the story of what happens after the adventuring is done. People settle down, and how do they do that? How do they settle into a life that's quite different from the sort of stereotypical like hack and slash dungeon crawl kind of livelihood? So the only thing we really came into this game with was, sure, it's called Stewpot. It has a very charming fantasy sort of pixel art title, but I like space, and so I want space. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what that means. We do the tavern before we do any of our characters, actually. So if we want to just go straight into building our tavern, it's the center of the game. So what's the location aside from space? Any ideas? I saw one of the things in the palette, or the only thing in the palette as a no, was no light speed travel. So not on a planet, I think, right?
Hmm.
Hmm. I think maybe like something orbiting either a moon or a planet or another satellite might be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I also was just sort of struck by the idea of not a food truck because that's too small, but what if the tavern is the itinerant thing? But then I think that would be a little bit too much in conflict with some of the games within this game. So now that I think of but yeah, like orbiting or sort of a I don't know, as central as you can get, a central point in the space of like a single system.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That seems fine. Um
Moon
so
Hotel.
Moon Hotel. Motel. Nope. Um
Motel.
Motel. Even worse somehow.
What
Um
what
mhm.
about you mentioned food truck, what about, like oh, what about, like a monorail, but, like, it's around a planet or something?
Oh my god. Okay. That's very fun. So it's more focused on like oh god, I just read a terrible, terrible book that did sort of have this planetary ring around the Earth and
Mhm.
a thing that follows around it. I have forgotten the name of the book. It was that bad. Seven Eves. Sorry, Neville Stevenson. Neville? Neil Stevenson.
Nevil.
Neville Stevenson.
Well,
But
that's how you
but
feel
I
about
like
his writing.
it is how I feel about his writing. Oh, trash fire. But I do like that idea of like there's space elements. There's like touching down and seeing different parts of a planet. Like it is kind of nice and homey. Um,
They tried to make a space elevator, it didn't work, but they did make something. But they did make the next best thing. You know how a space elevator goes up and down? This one goes sideways.
yeah, it's like a space. What are they called in the airport? Those carpet
The moving
people movers.
sidewalk?
Yeah, moving sidewalk. Yeah, it's like a space
Oh,
moving sidewalk.
what if it's a launch loop?
I'm gonna have to do a quick Google on that.
It's like a space concept where there's just this kind of where like the idea is that it's instead of being like a space elevator which just straight up goes up. This is just like an 80
Mm,
kilometer tall monorail essentially.
what?
What?
Okay,
And then
interesting.
it just stops?
No, the idea is that it's a little, from what I understand, it's a little bit like if a runway were 80 kilometers up in the air.
Um,
Huh.
okay.
So like a space airport?
Mhm.
Not
Oh
a
god,
spaceport, but a
where
space
the airport's
airport.
Cinnabon.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking, but more like in that sci-fi mode of it's on an asteroid, it's on a space station.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel about this launch loop, sorry.
What about you have like like a gondola, but like not the boat kind, the like ski lift kind that goes
Yeah.
between the planet and a satellite, but it's also a restaurant.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I think that could work. So we basically set like the type of place it is, city or rural, or in this case, moving city. And then we talk about the environment itself. So if we're going with uh, this sort of constantly in motion space elevator, I guess, with multiple cars, then what does that environment look like? Is it anchored to a single point? I think it typically would be, but as we've seen with the launch loop or the planetary space monorail, it doesn't have to be fixed on the ground. So what do we think for the environment? Have I disconnected?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Sorry, I am just thinking.
Yeah. We got into space loops or launch loops, and we got a lot to contemplate there. It might be HB that we've lost.
No,
Yeah.
it's just
Oh
that
no. Okay.
I think-
Fully
how-
overwhelmed by the concept of launch loops.
yeah. Uh, well, actually, I was overwhelmed by my sound card, which cut out for a second, but
Oh, okay.
Oh, so we
but
did lose you for a second.
yeah, you did absolutely lose me for a second. I can still hear you, but you could not hear me. So yeah.
Okay.
What I was saying is that maybe it's like are you familiar with are you familiar with the concept of space planes, which are just like planes that take off and then hit orbit?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be that our tavern is on a station that's where space planes dock.
Okay. Yeah. Sort of between the planet and any moons it might have. So
Yeah,
if
low orbit.
people like go on to the the people who live on the moon can get there. The people who live on the other moon can get there. People who, have done a stopover at the moon but have come from another planet. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like a halfway point between planet and moon and other moon and further space. Those are all halfway.
Yeah. um,
That's how measurements work.
okay.
Let me
So,
well,
yeah.
let me like delta V wise, delta V wise. I feel like that checks out.
I think
Like
you are both much more sciencey than me, so I will take your word on it.
like like delta V is basically how much of a velocity change you need to like take off from a planet, right?
Sure, sure. But I mean,
Or do like a
oh,
space
you mean
maneuver.
because arriving out from further out of the system, you have your momentum built up or something?
Well, no,
I don't
it's
know.
more that like you need to hit like how much was it on Earth? It was like 2 kilometers. There were like several like escape velocities, and one of them was like 7 kilometers per second.
Hmm.
There's a there's a lot of space stuff.
There's a lot of space stuff. The space stuff I am most interested in is then if we've chosen our environment as sort of orbital station kind of thing. So I don't know, like the equivalent of a medium level airport. Like it's still an international airport, but it's not necessarily going to connect directly to London or something.
Hmm. So
Hmm.
Okay.
not one of the big space stations, just a space station.
Yeah. What then does that look like? Is it, is it like shiny and sleek? What are the basic, like, we might decide to say what our particular tavern looks like first, and then say it's similar to, or it's in contrast to the space station environment as a whole. But
Hmm.
like that's kind of what we have reached now is a little bit more of the details of our tavern.
Hmm.
I'm also not dead set on it, but I think Delta V could be a good space station name. Or nope, a good tavern name.
Yeah. Um, I am kind of like drawn to the idea of this is like sort of like a defunct or out of common use touchdown point. Like
Oh,
people have either gone further out or just like have the ability to bypass it. So it's kind of just like a whatever stop at this point.
yeah. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Like this used to be like this used to be one like this used to it's like if the International Space Station is just kind of instead of like being deorbited, they just kind of let it hang around and people could like live there.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I just got a notification on my phone that Mir hit 35 the other day. That seems both too long and not long enough ago.
What hit 35?
Mir?
Mm.
Mm.
Oh, but that
Oh.
might have been, yeah, it looks like 35. Now, is it still orbiting? No.
Completing 15.7 orbits per day. Very good.
Speedy. Okay.
That's another question, I guess, for the environment. How fast is this boy going?
Mm. That's once again like an interesting question, right? Because it's
Mhm.
because like you wouldn't feel how fast it's going necessarily.
Yeah,
But it would make it
true.
harder or easier for people to reach and harder or easier for the station itself to maintain its orbit, right? If it's
Yeah.
not going quite fast enough, then it's always going to drag and have to burn. And
Mhm.
and so like that would be a concern of like, god damn it, someone's mismanaging the engines again, and now we've all got to chip in an extra this many space money to get us back into our
I
proper
mean,
orbit.
well, I guess if we go like it's sort of not abandoned, but like defunct. Um we could always go it's starting to like deorbit route, so it's less like predictable in its position.
Mm, yeah. Also, it's just kind of uniquely janky to have a space station that just occasionally hits atmosphere and starts like shaking.
Yeah.
It sheds some velocity and is about to fall into the atmosphere unless somebody like reorbits it on a regular basis.
Yeah. So what are some of
Oh.
the details about the location? I think we've got 6 spaces. We don't have to fill all of them, but if we each wanted to do 2, we could do that. But at the minimum, let's each think of one detail about the location, which could either be, I don't know, maybe something like we said, the orbit, like the orbit decays quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I can toss that one in here real easy. No, I can't. It's hmm. There we go.
You are the anonymous shrew.
I don't know which one I am.
I don't see you, but I guess you're the idle anonymous rhino, unless that's our lovely stream host. So I'm gonna say, well, actually, what planet? It's not Earth, right? What's the planet
I
like
don't think
underneath?
it's Earth.
Is it
No.
very, is it, does it have a lot of temperate zones like Earth? Is it more of a Mars? Uh,
Kind of a Mars
more of a
vibe.
water world? All water underneath? Find that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Mars would be an interesting vibe.
And so timely.
Very timely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then I will go with orbiting a space station, orbiting a dry, rocky. And the detail I will say people have been coming here a long time. That's not nice. So there's like multiple generations of people who are like, well, we come through this one because it's familiar, we're comfortable with it. And maybe our ship has a little bit of trouble bouncing all the way up to some of the nicer, newer ones. So that's the detail I'm going to put. HB, have you worked out how to get there, or do you want to relay a detail?
I have figured out how to get there.
Okay.
I think it's something like I like the idea that this is like that this space station used to be meant for something else. It wasn't built for this purpose. That it's like
Oh.
it's basically like a community space salvage project. Like maybe the very first community, like the very first interplanetary community space salvage project. Or just like find the station and bring it back into like relative order.
Okay. I have found some space station pictures, but they are not what I'm hoping for. Actually, I kind of like this one, but I would like a better sourcing than Pinterest, please. Better reverse image search something. But I think if we've got three details, we can always come back and add them as we feel make sense. For the look of our tavern itself, in the context of this space station, like, are we trying for something that fits in perfectly? Are we like, do we instead be like, no, this place is so clean, it's like a brunch place, downtown. It's like, you know, uh, cute cursive and like lots of like white, like soft white walls to contrast. I don't know. What are we thinking?
I'm thinking more of a space Olive Garden or a space cheesecake factory is what I'm wondering.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
There's just something entertaining about it being like needlessly and perplexingly luxurious,
But like,
but not,
but
but not like
yeah,
comfortable
like the
luxurious.
semblance of luxury. Ooh, the one that I am thinking of is the old spaghetti factory, which is kind of like both.
Yeah.
I honestly think someone, not Olive Garden, not Cheesecake Factory. What if I put the two together? But yeah, like the ceilings are very high. There's a lot of gold stuff, not too much necessarily, but like more than you would think correct for a restaurant. That's giving you like a plate of spaghetti. Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I
I'm
like
looking
that.
at spaghetti factory, and there's like a fucking train car in here, tram car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
I
I like
definitely no, you go.
okay. I was just gonna say I like that idea as like like in the sense of like, oh, we gotta try and like revive this place. But we don't have the money to be like real fancy.
Yeah. Okay, so for the detail, I am going to put decorative replica early space probe. Like, what if there was like Sputnik in the corner for the kids to marvel at? But it's not real Sputnik. Well, you know what? I don't think that we're a chain, so it might be real Sputnik
Mhm.
or equivalent.
All we know is that when you touch it, it goes.
It has some good blinking lights.
um Man, the detail I just thought of, so you have real Sputnik inside, and then outside you have one of those like, the little kid like rocket coin operated things
Yep.
you see in like malls or outside stores, but like it's also Sputnik, but for the kids.
I love it. You do have to get tokens at the at the front desk. Not front desk. What's it called? The reception
Yeah.
where the hostess stand. Um, absolutely, that's very good. I am starting to think Delta V is not quite the appropriate name for this place. As good of a name as it is, this rings more like a, you know, uh, like I almost do want to keep factory in the name, or like what's the name of that really really big building at NASA where they put stuff together?
Mm,
Um,
okay. My media Oh, the jet is it the Jet Propulsion Lab?
No, that's it. It's the vehicle assembly building.
God, that
It's
was
just called that.
God. Those were
JPL's in California.
my
yeah.
first instinct was to say the VAB, but it's like but I was like, no, that's a Kerbal Space Program thing.
No, it's real.
No, yeah.
It's real. It's so big. It's so rectangular. It's honestly almost perfect. So you work on your detail. I'm going to keep stewing on this name. You will pardon the pun. Thank you.
It's kind of funny because what Sputnik actually means is like a fellow traveler.
Yeah.
Like that's what the name
So it's
means.
really cute. I mean, again, I don't think this is Earth or any real place. You know what? I mean, what if it is Mars? And then we do just like drag Sputnik out of out of orbit. Um,
I think it's just funnier if it's I think it's funnier if it's not like the same one.
ah,
This is a replica. It just happens to like look a lot like Sputnik. Then
okay, yeah. I'm gonna put replica with a question mark after it because maybe it's not.
it's like when those things
Um,
are. It's a replica, but if you ask the staff, we always say who knows.
yeah. Um, okay.
I also like the idea that we have it's like our entire establishment is just made up of these it's just made up of these replica spacecraft modules, historical ones.
Mm, yeah, that's kind of fun.
It's like we
Yeah.
leaned a bit too far into the aesthetic.
Vehicle assembly break room is wrong. Um, vehicle assembly or vehicle disassembly.
Vehicle destruction bay.
Uh, going off of your comment, HV, now I'm just thinking about there's, like along, like, the walls or whatever that are various things, there's, like, little, like, intercom buttons or whatever where you get, like you're going through a museum or whatever, and you can get little tidbits. But in your restaurant?
The detail about the modules from across history, they make up the the different seating areas, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm just gonna put in parentheses um, practical and usable as opposed to the decorative one. Okay. Sweet. Well, as we come up with more, we can definitely do that. We've got one. Yeah, okay. We've already got level 1 for cuisine, atmosphere, and service. That's just kind of how we always begin. The atmosphere. Uh, strong mattress, narrow chimneys, bare walls. I think in this case, then it's more of that the exposed wiring is not as artful as it should be. It's like,
Mhm.
oh no, this looks like a problem.
I do like the idea that
Um,
we actually have, despite being up in space, we have more atmosphere.
oh my god.
I
So,
like the
like
idea that, like, you know how it's very cramped in actual spacecraft? The thing is that, we've purposefully built this to be, like, roomier than it needs to be.
So it's kind of echoing cabinets.
Yeah, but also, like, you can just kinda get comfortable in here in a way that you can't in, like, like, zero gravity generally.
Okay, cool. I have not had any luck with this uh, space station picture. So if either of you get something,
Yeah.
please feel free to pop it in there. I think Chris and Mads are running the reference Twitter. There is an account called Roll Plus Ref, which will share out pictures and things like that um, for people to enjoy after the fact or get their hands on if they can't watch the stream with their eyes. Yeah, I'm not really having any picture luck, unfortunately.
Mm, maybe we just put Sputnik in there.
Oh, that works. It's a good place to start. Um, so now that we have a tavern kind of sketched out, we move to characters. So, as it says in the book, we are the key things to make our character a name, a look, and oops, that's not how a mouse works. A name, a look, and then our jobs and experiences. So, does anyone have anything to start?
Hmm.
Might have to do a fair bit of conversion from like the fighter with a sword.
You can fight with the sword in space.
It's gonna be a lot harder with the swinging.
I mean,
You know?
you're going like 11 kilometers per second. So even if you have a sword, I think it would be in fact a lot more effective.
I guess that's true. You let the speed of your whole body do it instead of the.
I guess the thing in space, things are harder to hit, but when you do, you really, really feel it.
um, so I usually start with a job and then figure out look and name. Um, and so the adventurer jobs of paladin, wizard, fighter, rogue, druid, bard, ranger, and swashbuckler. Um, kind of thinking, oops. I think you could be a scientist as a druid or a wizard, huh?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But a rogue is kind of fun. Mm. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with wizard.
Which one do I want to go with? Let's say something very funny about being a rogue in space.
Yeah, that was what I was looking at too. But I think I'm happy with wizard. Which I'm gonna call in this context, like I guess, um, a self, like a self-taught engineer.
Self-taught?
Yeah, figure a lot of stuff out.
um, I am sort of looking at Ranger, but like more of a like pilot sense, I guess. I don't know. Sort of conversion makes sense in my head at least.
It tracks to me. Oh, I have found the space stations. I forgot that art station was a thing. And you just put space station in that puppy and you get a lot. What if I need to add junk?
Oh,
Space station junk.
um, we choose how many it's 3 adventure experiences, right?
Yes. And we can duplicate adventurer jobs. We could conceivably all be the same one, because we're going to build different characters around it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna be a crafter. Like as an artisan.
Oh,
Yeah, an
cool.
artisan.
All right. So I guess we'll introduce ourselves in just a minute. Because I know I'm still working. I know I'm still working on it. Not gonna have to think about how to translate Arcana into sci-fi. I mean, arcane is a very useful adjective that doesn't only apply to magic. So, no. Why would I do that when I could just choose fireball, which is mastery of flame?
Yeah.
This is a chemistry engineer, I guess. And town job.
Oh. For
No.
town job, I am personally leaning chef just because I think a chef pilot would be a fun time.
Okay, that's good. I was thinking about that one, but I was like, that seems a little obvious because I just was talking about fire. And you have, I know we can double them up, but you've kind of taken it out of the running for me, and I appreciate that. So between farmer, healer, chef, merchant, poet, crafter, scholar, apothecary, hunter, lookout. I think scholar kind of seems fun. Like, let me settle down. Let me see how much more I can learn when I'm not constantly like on the go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I love it. Oh, there's only 3? This might be an out of date thing. I can fix that.
Let me. Yeah, there's a couple more here.
So that's defuse. Oh, handle something dangerous. I like that. And streamline. Wow, this is literally me at work this morning. Just lamenting that this streamline was not something I was being allowed to execute. Great. Okay. So in about 10 minutes, we're going to take a little break, and I think we can probably get our small introduction and our first step in. What do you think?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Right. I didn't actually type in my um, my things. So would HB, it looks like you've got the most going on paper. Would you like to run us through it and introduce?
Yeah, so I'll be playing. Dvasha, who is an elongated space probe hanging out on like many little arms and legs. Like imagine if imagine if like a space probe opened your door and walked inside. That's basically the vibe here.
Excellent.
Well, like imagine this kind of sensor space like unmanned spacecraft just kind of walking inside and being like yeah, I want to work here.
Oh, we don't have anything in the lines and veils. How do we feel about bugs?
I am good with bugs.
Okay. HB? Did the sound card attack again? It looks possible. So I'm
Uh-oh.
gonna move on to the other.
Hello.
You back?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So imagine. So how far did I get? How far did I get before I cut out?
we heard about your look and the little space probe, and then I asked a quick question of how do you feel about bugs?
Mhm. Yeah, so Dwash's whole thing is that he just kind of is that he has something he calls the acquisition claw, which is it's unclear where he got it, but he does have have like this one big space arm he uses to like grab other defunct spacecraft and bring them back. Just kind of tow them over to the station and use them to build new things. His armor is that he has layers and layers of shielding, like both things he originally had as well as things he's added later. And as for his eyes, he has antennae, magnetometers, sensors of all kinds. Really just no shortage of eyes. His job is that he is a rogue. He has cat's grace, nimble fingers, and is a lightfoot. And his town job is men artisan.
Nice. What is your stance on bugs? As
Love bugs.
okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to double check. Because my guy is, I think, a stick bug.
Oh, you were asking for yourself. I thought you were asking because I was gonna.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought you were asking because of HB's description of the satellite
Oh, with many legs
of what's
and
your name?
eyes.
Of yeah, I thought you were asking because of Devasha's many legs.
Oh no, 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 no. No, it's spectacular, and I love it. Okay. Looks like you're also still working, Xander. So,
Yep.
cool. Nope, that's about where I'm at. So, armor. Um, it's definitely more than armor. It's more like a battered jumpsuit, but instead of a jumpsuit, I mean, I feel like you could fit a jumpsuit on a bug, especially a stick bug. But it's got a lot of extra belts um, to cinch it in the proper places because there's not really hips on a bug. Battered jumpsuit with many belts. There we go. That's my armor. The weapons are gauntlets. They are really more of a protective work glove for touching all that fire. But I think they have some. I think they have some like plates sewn onto them for protection of the hand, but also if you know in her past she has for sure backhanded um, backhanded somebody with them and been like, oh, effective. Um, her eyes are very big, multifaceted. Sensitive. I put sensitive to light, but I'm wondering if like they're more sensitive to something else. Um, but I'm just gonna leave it at light. For adventurer job, um, chemistry, engineering, just lots of little anything that needs fixing and doing is kind of her purview. And the experiences are prestidigitation for small wonders, fireball, mastery of flame, and invisibility, move unseen. Which maybe, although I've said stick bug, she can do some chameleon octopus kind of stuff. And then the town job I've chosen is scholar.
Cool. Yeah, I mostly have my stuff now, I guess. My character is Tethys, they them. For look, I am working on getting an image, but since you Kai went Stickbug, I went Nudibranch, so that's where I'm at.
Nice.
Uh, I want
No,
you to know,
no.
Xander, that I read Nudibranch and I was like, hell yes, absolutely. More people should know about Nudibranchs.
Oh, I love them. So I haven't actually decided on a weapon yet because I didn't get there, and I was thinking about more character like pilot, so I haven't gotten there. But armor, I've got poisonous, I guess, so not so much like physical armor or whatever. They're just poisonous. They do have like clothes, but yeah. Eyes, I put hard to distinguish and like make out from the rest of them because they are like brightly colored and shit. Adventure job, I chose ranger, or I'm going with pilot. My experiences are true north, unerring sense of direction, tracking, follow any trail, and camouflage, disappear into nature. So I guess um, we matched there, sort of, Kai. I'm not sure how I
Nice.
do camouflage, but I sure do. And then for town job, I chose chef. And I am working on getting an actual image with reference up in a bit. Hopefully, I will have that
Cool.
after break.
That's about what I'm thinking. We've actually about hit the 55-minute mark. So if our stream host is ready, I think we'll take a break shortly. But when we come back, what we'll do is do the first game, which is, like appropriate enough, called the first step. So we'll talk about what our characters did before. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get some water, make sure that you are taking care of yourself and doing some stretches and water and whatever. And we'll be back shortly. All right, we're back from break with the second anniversary Roll Plus Bond charity stream. This year, we are fundraising for the Native American right. Oh no, I dropped my link for it, and I can't remember the F. How embarrassing. Fund. The Native American Rights Fund. If you type exclamation point donate in the Twitch chat, you will get some information. And yeah, you can also, I don't know, is either of you, HB or Xander, watching the stream? I don't have the internet bandwidth or the mental bandwidth for it.
I have it open but muted right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Seems to be working though.
excellent. Good. I think there's a little tracker, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. So you can keep an eye on that to see how things go throughout the 72 hours of the stream. But yeah, I mean, if we've got our characters all settled, then shall we go straight into the setup? The setup for the first step.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we want to do reverse order and start with Xander, or?
I mean, we can. I'm good either way.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, basically this one is to find out what you were doing before you put down roots here and took up with the staff. Okay, is vehicle reassembly bay it? Did anyone come up with something more?
So you were talking about the vehicle assembly bay and also the I don't have I keep like not thinking of names. I keep just thinking about how do you eat spaghetti in no gravity. But that's not a name or anything.
Fair. We can just keep calling it the tavern or leave. You know what else is very spacey is just have an abbreviation that doesn't really have like people would be a little bit hard pressed to tell you what every letter of it means. So we could just stick with VAB, which is the very big building.
What if our acronym was just spaghetti?
Oh my word. Spaghetti.
Not like completely out of the question. We do have JUICE, our Jupiter Icy Moons Orbiter, which is not how it's not one letter per acronym, but you know, we can be creative with spaghetti.
Linguini Station.
I think someone's really, really annoyed that there's not two T's.
Get them.
Oh.
I almost was like, should we leave out the H too? I think that'd be funny, but maybe we'll just
Yeah.
kinda... Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spaghetti. Spadget. Spadget 1.
What if
But okay.
The Spatchet
Love
sound.
Yikes. All right, so before you put down roots here in spaghetti, what were you doing? What was the first thing you learned about how to live in town? And so what we do is by the end of this, we're each going to have one town experience. and we take turns describing a scene that led to it. There are some potential um, jumping off points, like a townsperson you once helped has welcomed you back. You find a place and just observe.
Uh, let's see. I like the idea that like Dvasha was not originally introduced. Oh, and by the way, Dvasha has a last name now. Dvasha's last name is Snakeman.
I did see that. I was wondering how that works. And is does Devasha stand for something, or it is just all caps for style?
I think it does, just nothing in English.
Okay, great.
Gotcha.
It's like that thing where it's like a thing like when they make acronyms out of like Russian stuff, they sometimes actually. Actually, let me just reflect that real quick. Where like the H is lowercase because sh is a letter in Russian.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right.
I don't really know I don't really know what it stands for, but the name is Dvasha.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I think the thing about Dvasha is that like he is originally brought on as like a piece of decor,
Oh,
and the thing is that he just like surprisingly comes to life. It just kind of starts hanging out. Like so, it's a little like sitting and observing, but it's the thing that like you have like this one you have like this one Sputnik decoration that just like and Dvasha's like not dissimilar if you look at the visual reference for Dvasha. Like Dvasha's visual reference is like a Ulysses probe.
Mhm.
And I think by the time
oh.
you notice that Dvasha's like hanging out, I think Dvasha has like added several space probes to his body. And just kind of formed into his full form and just kind of started working here without really asking anyone for permission.
Amazing.
And yeah, I think he just kind of starts working on stuff in the station. He just kind of starts let's see, what kind of town experience would this be? I like the idea that I like the idea that he has the designer town experience. He has a trained eye for color and shape.
Mm. Yeah,
By
he
which I
took a
mean
lot
that
of
he's
different pieces to. Oh,
By which I mean that he has like he like makes very unusual decorations. He like has a space probe's eye for aesthetics, which surprisingly works quite well for this establishment.
nice.
He creates surprising arrangements.
Very cool. Um, I think I have the idea for mine. Um, and so I think she was I think she was working with a crew uh, that was doing pretty run of the mill um, like deliveries on a circuit, um, maybe mostly between the moons of Jupiter, but every so often heading, well, not that often, I guess, with the distances involved, but um, heading a little bit deeper into the system towards Mars. And it was, it was a fine job. It was occasionally dramatic and exciting, and occasionally, mostly quite boring, which gave her a lot of time to go over the very few uh, like sources of information on that ship. And so um, when she finally gets to this space station, one of the first things she does is Uh, I think she's maybe having a drink in spaghetti. God damn it. She's having a drink. She's having a drink over at spaghetti and um overhears or is talking with someone and they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, there's like the public access database. You can and like they tap it up on a little computer and are like this, it's not and you've also got like a location uh which is much more much more elaborate. It's kind of spacious. They've even got and they like kind of lean in, they're like, they've even got a book. Um and she's like, "Oh, that's takes up a lot of space. Like, can you touch it?" And they're like, "No." But they turn the pages sometimes. Um, and so she makes her way over to that library and just like has a grand old time, which I think it takes me right into that well read. I don't necessarily know it, but I do know where to learn about it.
Cool. Um, I think I have also got mine. I think uh Tethys was a pilot, but like down on um the planet, like lower atmosphere sort of deal, not like space so much, and um either through like chance or accident wound up here on the space station. Maybe just to see if they could do it. And I think for something happened and I think they had to use like a part of their ship to help keep the space station up and not going for a little longer. And that ties into my little um town job of um call the shots, quick thinking and split second decisions. I think they made this decision and definitely like didn't entirely think about this fact they're like up here now, you know? They could hitch a ride, but like no, they'll hang out here for a while. It's something new.
Nice. I love
Good
that.
stuff.
Now, we don't have to mark off an adventuring experience for that one, right? This is purely get town experience, and that's it.
I think so. That's at least what the text says.
That's how it reads to me. I wasn't sure if I was forgetting something from uh deeper in. Um okay. So now we just kind of go into what games strike our fancy. We don't have to go in a circle, or I guess a triangle, but it could help us. There's a list of games. I think it might be fun to jump into the um, like something about the supply side of it, like market day or homegrown. Um,
Yeah. We start off on a friendly tavern brawl.
ooh, you know what? Oh, I'm not opposed to that at all. Um, hmm. I also just really quickly have found not necessarily our tavern, but take a look at this as a potential picture. And if we like it for the station we're in, we can post it up in the document. God, a tavern brawl would be a fun start.
Oh, this is funky. Very cylindrical.
Yeah. Kind of got that looks like an accretion.
Yeah.
It's got that sort of that detail that that HB mentioned. So that's kind of what caught my eye about it. Plus the fact that it shows others near it, like it's not the only space station going on.
Hmm.
Okay, so
It
shall
does
I
look
put it
like
in the thing?
spaghetti.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of a hollow noodle, but yeah.
Spaghettish. A rigatoni.
Well, it's like when you it's like when you wrap spaghetti around the fork.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very funny. Oh, this
Maybe we
is
should post
extremely
that as a reference image.
horizontal. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up there.
You can also
It's
flip it.
well,
Yeah.
guess so. That is how space works.
Yeah, we could just have a horizontal one instead of a vertical one.
I just meant
Yeah,
in
like
terms of inserting it into the sheet. The slot in the sheet is very vertical, but I guess
Yeah.
that's true. It can just be tilted sideways. But yeah, do we want to start with a brawl or something a little more practical?
I just love the idea of fighting on a space station, the one thing you're not supposed to do. I guess one of many things you're not supposed to do, but they're like a pretty big one you're not supposed to do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many things that can break. Just so many. Yeah, might as well do it. Um, throw everyone in on the deep end. Do you think we all arrived here at a similar time, or does one of us have a lot longer experience at spaghetti? Listen, I'm committing.
I think my answer here is. I think my answer here would be. I would like it if we all arrived at roughly the same time. We just like very different latency periods before we realized we were working here.
Oh, oh yeah, that's cool.
It's like a regular to there's like a regular to operator pipeline here. You just increasingly spend more and more time with spaghetti until like you've just been drawn into you've just been drawn into the operation of this tavern.
Cool. I like it. Um, so after we've kind of gotten like we all know we're working here probably. Or shoot, what if this is when somebody's like, "Oh, I guess I work here now." People just listen to me when I said stop that fighting. Um, so how do we handle the situation when things get a little out of hand? We need both brawlers and de-escalators. Uh, Usually the de-escalators will be a player character or few. The brawlers could be players or NPCs, of which we have zero. So it might be fun to come up with a few.
Oh, we have the couple like starting staffers or
That's true.
whatever service
Yep.
that we could establish a little more.
Cool. Definitely.
You have like one staff member to start with, right?
Yeah.
A former farmhand and an or is it an and or is it or an injured local guard?
I think there's just some examples.
Yeah.
A former space hand.
Yeah, or I mean, this station was the kind of thing that was like initially a well, the detail says the first community interplanetary spaceflight project, but you also had described it as like a lot of things being collected and pulled together. So this could definitely be the kind of like a person that worked on the like pulling together of space junk to like repurpose it to actually create the station, and now they're kind of retired and always hanging out in the bar, and just like us, oh, I guess I work here.
Yeah, I think that would be neat to have like a character that has like been here since it was pieced together or re-pieced together, as it were.
They went to the moon, realized it was haunted, and never looked back.
Okay, I'm gonna call them. Cornell downstairs.
Ooh, very good.
They worked on
That's
the
great.
station. They're one of the people. They're one of the many people that put the station together. Oh, so I guess that generational
Do we think
thing that I
maybe
mentioned before does not quite apply if they're still around, unless they are a robot and very old. Yep, they're a robot.
They're just really, really old.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted like at least like two generations of people that have been coming to this place.
Oh yeah, I
Which
mean
makes it a
they.
little hard. Oh, they're still an old robot.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine if they've been like here since they've been like in their 30s and now they're 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That's enough. Yeah. I still
Because
want
that
them to be a
still
robot.
allows for like
Maybe.
2 or 3 generations. But yeah, robots work. Honestly,
Cool.
if somebody told me their name was Cornell Downstairs, I would assume they were a robot anyway.
Dude, so I thought this was a real name. Like a long time ago at a former job, a client emailed me and copied Cornell Downstairs on the email, and I was like, "Oh my god, no way!" And so eventually, I did have to ask and say, like, "Who's that? I haven't seen them on the email before." And she's like, "Oh, it's the printer." So it is a mechanical being of a sort, but yeah, no, it's a good name, and I don't think I've ever gotten to use it before. It feels so right. So this fight, what we're gonna do through this game is interrupt it, and then separate the brawlers, and then talk them down. So, HB, you suggested the brawl. Do you want to be more of a de-escalator, or do you want to play the brawlers?
God, I think I want to fight someone.
All right. So are you Cornell downstairs, or are you some other people fighting?
Yeah, I like the idea of playing Cornell Downstairs here as they fight. As they fight like a customer.
Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful.
I was gonna pitch the idea of like, what if someone picked a fight with Cornell?
Yeah. I mean, unwise, not polite, but very amusing. Perfect.
But who are they picking a fight with? That's the question.
I am picturing a robot fighting someone kind of jellyfishy, because it's very amusing. They can like
Yeah.
do a lot of wobbling out of the way. They can do a lot of like. I mean, they're not a straight up jellyfish, but they have that sort of similarly amorphous structure.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's her deal? What's her deal? Is it a sports? Is it a
What
sports fight?
if?
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna pitch. What if this character is like has stopped uh like on their way to the planet and is in a foul mood because like shit, dude, this planet's just completely dry and rocky and it's gonna suck, but they have to do a job down there or something. And now they're just like picking a fight and like this space station is so shitty and then Cornell overhears and it just goes downhill from there.
Okay. And she smack talks. She smack talks the planet or the station?
I appreciate that her name is actually
Uh
Jelly Lady.
both. Yeah, Jelly Lady, it's short for Angelica Ladyfingers.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Perfect.
Oh, what a
Oh.
monster. What a nightmare. Angelica, Jelly Lady.
Yeah.
I can like see her being in the
I
fall.
think
I can see her. Hmm?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, to answer your earlier question, I think she is insulting the planet, she is insulting the space station, she is insulting the food, probably too. It's just like one of those days, one of those people.
This is driving me up a wall. I can't get the quotes to turn around and properly enclose Jelly Lady, but I guess that's just how it's going to be. All right. So does that mean that you are? Yeah, HB, you get to be both Angelica, Jelly Lady, Ladyfingers, and Cornell downstairs, which is, man, what a treat. Uh, I feel up to de-escalating or to attempting to de-escalate a fight. What about Tethys?
Mm,
Oh, is HB the brawlers?
the
Both of them?
Brawlers.
Yeah, I
Well,
take care of
yeah.
more than one.
So what it says here is that the escalators, like this, can be one player, but should usually be several player characters.
Oh, gotcha, yeah. That makes sense, and there are only 3 of us, so yeah,
A nice
Tethys could make an
intimate little
attempt.
brawl. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I think um, the first thing that catches my eye is like some like really interesting shape that Jelly Lady makes in avoiding a punch. Catches the light in a certain way that's like um, Spanner looks up from. I'm just going to assume she was like tinkering with the plumbing that delivers the the soda or the beer or whatever. And she's like, oh no, and yells for Tethys, and like she doesn't have to jump over the bar; she just steps over the bar. Um, uh, approaches these fighters.
Yeah, I think when you yell for Tethys, they make their way out of the kitchen and follow you around the bar. Um, but don't like step in quite yet.
So I think the way then to interrupt the fight, I'm going to use, of course, my mastery of flame for the Gata. And again, in a space station, what a wild choice. Um, but yeah, it's like she's got those gauntlets, and I think she's got a little spark, uh, like a little spark, like she can spark the metal plate against something that she built into like the side of a finger or whatever, and just like a little fire is on the like on the back of her hand, and she's waving it back and forth between like Cornell, Cornell.
I think the way that Cornell lashes out is I think they yell "You stay out of this." And I think what they do is they just kind of I'm sure this is like at the very least like low gravity. So what happens is that Cornell just kind of launches themselves across the room.
Oh, amazing.
Just kind of tries to just kind of tries to like bounce right into Jelly Lady, and I think that part works, and that like Jelly Lady and Cornell just kind of fly toward the wall because Jelly Lady is so soft. She kind of bounces Cornell off, and Cornell just kind of goes spinning and rolling through the room almost like pinballing off the walls. Just chaos.
Uh,
Sorry,
mm,
I got a random phone call from a telemarketer. Did I miss anything?
I think you did.
Okay. All right. The last thing I heard was spinning and like careening off of stuff because of low
Yeah.
gravity. Ah,
yeah, that was it.
hot mess. Hot mess. Um, Tethys, did you want to do something before I have my idea?
Um, my only thought was like Tethys trying to like as they're I guess ping ponging around the room trying to like I don't know like step in or like arrange furniture either so that they don't hit it or that they do hit it so that they separate like
Ooh,
what this is kind of a stretch but I was thinking like um the with like unerring sense of direction like kind of stretching it to like knowing the angles that they're gonna bounce off of and just kind of trying to physically break them apart, but not like with like a chair or whatever that's just hanging out in the floor.
no, that's piloting. That's piloting and to a T. I don't think that's a stretch at all. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what they're gonna do or try to do, to at
Like
least
herd.
temporarily knock them apart. Yeah, kind of like herd them into a smaller area and then just knock them apart.
Very funny.
Yeah. I think we're in the separation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, how did the uh so once they've started so once you've started to split them apart, I think like Jelly Lady being being like kind of a clear belligerent here, just kind of unfolds her tentacles and starts throwing furniture at Cornell. Just kind of increase the chaos in the situation.
Oh no. I think so. Spanner does not have tentacles, but there's a lot of limbs going on. The picture's a little bit too cartoony and cute, but I think like 4 arms, 2 legs, like she can anchor with one hand and sort of be deflecting stuff with the other five limbs. And so I think like as these things get hurled and I imagine. Oh, I know. So like what Tethys is doing is kind of batting furniture around to corral and herd the 2 belligerents. And what I think what Spanner then does is wade in to kind of like shoulder a few of those things aside, and like sort of get an arm around Jelly Lady's shoulder equivalent and be like, you look parched. We just got a new drink in from the most recent shipment off of the like the Ice Tenders Manifesto or something, like some ship that is known as coming from some of the more like icy and watery moons. And so she's like, why don't you have a seat before this gets too much more rowdy, and see if this, and like she snags something off the bar as she's directing the Jelly Lady toward a booth. It's like, see how this like see if this settles your mood.
Jelly Lady's response is it on the house?
Yes.
She rubs her tentacles together. Great.
First one's free. The cleanup, we'll see. But it's kind of like said in a joking way.
I think after this, like, Tethys goes back to prepare whatever this drink is. I'm just imagining some sort of like slushy, but like fancy. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Well, slushy but fancy is just sherbet, right?
Well, it would be like, I guess, a little more liquid, but
what's that thing?
Sorbet, but liquid that you can drink.
I mean, yeah, that's it's
Oh yeah,
kind of
sorbet
just
was
an
what
icy.
I was thinking.
Or daiquiris are icy, right? Or are they just thick and milky? They're just, I don't know.
I could not even begin to tell you
I
what a
don't know
daiquiri
either.
is.
Okay. Good, we're on the same page. In which case, it's absolutely a daiquiri. We have spoken. Yeah. Then
It's what we think a daiquiri is.
Exactly. It's a space daiquiri. Who can gainsay us?
Orbital daiquiri.
Outside the atmosphere, everything changed. Okay.
Things freeze in
Awesome.
space.
Sure do. So I think it kind of calms down from there. But I do wonder, like, since you have said it, isn't there a game about making a drink?
There is.
I just have to scroll is the problem.
Yeah. Wrong. A glass of the gods is the drink. 1.
I mean, is it is it fair to be like you mentioned it like let's do it, and it kind of fits with the chef idea? Like a chef is not a bartender, but
Yeah.
they're both about the combination of
It's adjacent.
ingredients.
Yeah. Also, I have briefly forgotten the rules for like when you mark off experiences and take the other kind.
I believe that happens in that every 3 rounds game, right?
Okay.
I think
Or
that's
does it
during
happen?
play.
Oh boy.
That's as far as
Okay.
I remember.
Well, there is a little section called memories. There we go. Using your experiences. When you use one or more adventure experiences in a game at the end of that game, you can choose one of them, cross it out, and make a new town experience.
Okay.
So you're right. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens right there.
So I suppose we both need to do that then before we keep going.
Did
Maybe,
I
yeah.
use?
You used your fireball.
Oh, I did. Oh, I sacrificed it so early.
Listen, there aren't really that many good use cases for Fireball on the space station.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Then I guess it's diffuse, but not in the way that I think the author may have originally intended. But I think it works.
Hmm. Okay, mine's gonna be a little more difficult. I feel like based on like the precision, maybe I could lean towards clean cut, minced diced chopped slice, but uh that's the closest stretch there is here, I think. Because I already took the one that wasn't food related to start.
Hmm.
Well, the
Also,
other thing
So,
is you can make your own. Is that what you're about to say?
well, also the thing is, I don't think it has to directly relate. Like,
mhm.
the idea is just that you use your adventure experience, then develop new town experiences.
Yeah.
You could also be an expert at grilling food and subordinates.
I feel like uh I think um I would have needed to talk to her more for grilling, but maybe
I can see
soon.
clean cut. I can see clean cut
Yeah,
working.
I think I'll go there because that kind of ties the most neatly into I guess playing pinball with Jelly Lady.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing about this is we narrate a 1 to 3 sentence scene um, saying how that new town experience came about. And I know for
Mhm.
mine, it the only way that it relates to what happened in the previous one is like handling something dangerous. I think although that turned out well, Spanner is like, you know what? That's maybe not the best thing for here. Like I'm not out in space where I used to be able to use this like with impunity. So they uh like maybe like they have a little meeting, the crew or the staff of this thing, And she's like, "Hey, uh, um, does anyone like have an idea for what we could do with this in a more safe and contained situation? I don't want to be like carrying around these little, what are they called? Accelerants anymore, but I'm sure we could do something with them. And I think we probably come up with a way to use it for like decoration or in the kitchen or something. But yeah,
Are
it's
there like intervals where these like uh space orbiter parts or whatever on display like fire a little bit or go off that we have for like atmosphere
oh
now?
shoot. They didn't before, but now we do. I think that's a perfect suggestion. Um, and so yeah, like putting that together kind of gets that handle something dangerous feeling down. But yeah, so then Glass of the Gods.
Glass of the Gods.
Yeah. Um,
So I guess one player is the adventurer, another player is the bartender. So I guess in this case, I'm still playing Angelica Ladyfingers.
yeah. Um, and I drink, so I suppose I am the bartender right now as Tethys. Kai, what did you say? This was from like
Oh,
an
it
icy planet was most of what you said, right?
yeah, the ship that some of the ingredients or like the main liqueur came in was the ice something manifest. The ice miners I can't remember.
The icy drink.
Okay, yeah.
The legendary icy drink. Hmm.
Oh my. You know what I just noticed? We might have set ourselves up for a little bit of failure because the bartender should be a player character or an NPC
Well,
created for a cuisine rating of 3 or 4. Are we going to be
well,
okay
it's
with
they have to be made for a 3 or 4. I don't have to be made for a 3 or 4. I think the
Yeah,
implication is just a like lower level NPC would not be skilled
that's
enough, but it's more of a narrative
perfect.
thing than a mechanical thing.
Okay. Okay.
it's like
Cool. Cool.
below a cuisine rating of 3 or 4, you would not have a bartender who is an NPC.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Cool.
Um, yeah. No, this one isn't like a distinguished guest where you are don't do it your first round.
Mm,
um, but yeah, yeah, HB, what's your trouble? I guess we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, but
Well, we
if you
talked
want
about
to
Angelica being like in the
elaborate.
bad mood.
Yeah.
but like, what's at the heart of it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Uh, let's say I like your party never seems to find enough treasure and fights over money are always breaking out. Because like Angelica's whole thing is like doing planet hops, and the thing is that there's just absolutely no money in it. So basically, what happens is she always gets like pulled into these very unprofitable jobs. Basically, like like kind of she is subject to basically the same conditions that give rise to the movie Alien, where like she keeps getting like where like she keeps having to do these things where she's like they tell her, oh yeah, you have to go out of your way and do this, and you have no recourse for it.
Hmm.
And it's just kind of one of those. This is kind of one of those things where like her job is just very, very bad. It's adventuresome, but also very bad to actually do. So yeah.
Um, so, the current atmosphere of the tavern is definitely, like it's still, I think, settling down from this brawl you just had. I don't know, like, how busy it was, before, but, like, there's definitely still, like, these weirdly positioned chairs and whatnot, just, like, in the middle of the dining area. So it's, like, a very, like, cluttered kind of, uh, o off kilter isn't quite the word I want, but, like, it's not quite settled down yet. Um, one detail about you. Um, hmm, I think maybe there's, like, something, unusual, that, Jelly Lady is wearing? Um, I'm not sure what, but it's definitely something that is, like, unusual to see around here.
Mm. Oh, what if she's actually dressed up for this? Like she's dressed a lot fancier than you would expect.
Yeah,
Oh, she was treating herself to a night out.
Yeah,
and then got in a brawl instead.
the preceding scene gets a lot funnier if you think of Jelly Lady as wearing like her equivalent of like an evening dress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, um,
So yeah, mixing the glass.
yeah, I think I will start with, is there a taste that you hate?
Is there a taste that I hate? I think there is a particular kind of. I think there are specific rav. I think there is like I think there is like a regular ration that Jelly Lady essentially lives on, and the whole thing about that ration is that it has is that it's like very sweet, like marzipan sort of sweet,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
it's
okay.
and I think Jelly Lady is so fucking sick of these rations that like if she has anything that is like that like tastes even a little bit like marzipan, or is like especially sweet at all, she's just gonna flip out again.
Yeah, okay, so not sweet. So that answers another one of these questions, but, um, what reminds you of home?
Hmm, what reminds me of home? Uh, there is, I think where Jelly Lady is from, there are these little floating like how homes work where she is from is that there are these like little floating undersea homes that have like these lots of that have like a lot of whiskers jutting out in all directions with little lights at the end of them, like these
Mhm.
little luminous strands.
Yeah.
And I think there is, I think kind of luminous strands shining through darkness is what reminds her of home the most.
Cool. Um, and then I will ask, I think, just one more question, and it's, what is the most beautiful thing you've seen on an adventure? Like, what's the most beautiful thing she's seen, across these not so great, jobs she's had to do?
Mm, uh, let me just the most beautiful thing she's seen on her adventures. I'm not sure if you've seen I'm not sure if you've seen like a picture of Deimos, the like one of the moons of Mars.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Is that the one that's, like, weird shaped? Or
Yeah, it's the weird and
yeah,
lumpy one.
it's the weird and lumpy one, that's what I thought.
And I think she saw the and I think she saw this I think she saw the sun rising over like an extremely lumpy moon.
Mhm.
And for some reason she just broke down crying at that, not because of not because of stress or anything, but because it was just kind of very beautiful in the moment. It was like
Yeah.
she had like four she was like in space for days at that moment, like more or less completely alone, and just kind of looking out, and then the sun rose at exactly the right time over this kind of very funny looking moon.
Mhm.
And it was just the most beautiful moment. It's like at that very moment that like her feelings just completely overwhelmed her.
Yeah. Okay. Um, oh, shit, I have to name it too. Okay, that's the last part. Um, so, uh, the base, of this, drink is definitely, like we talked about before, this, like, cold it's cold, it's kind of, like, partially frozen, sort of slushy, I think it's, like, this it's got, like, a sour, like, grapefruit, flavor to it, um, maybe I think maybe it's, like, a grapefruit cider sort of deal, but frozen, maybe it
Ooh.
comes in on, well, maybe it's, like, comes in on cryo or something. I don't know how it stays frozen because, like, alcohol, but, it's space, so, yeah, it's like this grapefruit cider base, it's kind of slushy, and then, um, I think, on t uh, I think, um want anything sweet, so now I'm just stacking sour things on each other. Um, I think it's this, like, slushy layer on the bottom, but then, like, another layer of, just, like, orange juice, basically, but, like, totally liquid, and then, like, kinda like a sunset, uh, and then, because the grapefruit is sort of a reddish purple color, I think. Maybe more pink. I don't know. I don't know what color grapefruit, cider that's been frozen would be, but, yeah, and then, there there, is, I think it's like a salt cube that they've kind of, like, broken up a little bit, so it's not, like, hard edges. It's kind of lumpy. Um, and then they they've they've s- they've um like the what's the word? Oh, the toothpick. I think it's got like there's several toothpicks in here with like little um those the like bursting little fruit balls that you can
Gushers?
put on like
Oh,
no,
never mind.
no,
Sorry.
like you can put them on like ice cream or whatever. I don't know. Like you bite into them and they have like liquid into them, in them. But like, so I guess that's like kind of gushers, but like fancy and just like real fruit. I don't know. But
Yeah.
like, there's a
Gourmet
couple of these on
gushers.
toothpicks, gourmet gushers. Fruit bubbles. But yeah. Um, but so there's a couple of these on toothpicks and like I don't actually know what would make the string, but there's like some sort of string connecting them to look like these lights that Jelly Lady mentioned.
Oh,
And
nice.
that's the drink.
Okay. What side of the trouble does this drink help you see? So, if I'm getting this right, this drink has like a salt cube, gourmet gushers, and like grapefruit and stuff like that.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, so they're popping boba, but they're fruit juice instead is what I'm thinking
Mm.
of.
Oh wow.
Um Yeah.
Uh, I'm not sure what they're like. I'm not sure what those are called, but they mentioned like Jelly Lady's reaction is similar to like those sour jelly candies that are meant to be like they're meant to be like kind of unpleasant to meant to be kind of
Mhm.
unpleasant, but like transitionally
Mhm.
unpleasant.
Yeah.
I think like her reaction is akin to that, where it just kind of seems to shock her with like with a with like a startling impression that it makes.
Yeah.
But I think it also makes her loosen up to a significant extent, that she realizes that you know maybe she doesn't have to do this job. Maybe there are alternatives for a person like her on the market, such as kind of making off with the spacecraft that she's supposed to land on the planet and then selling it on the black market. And then using that to just kind of using that to kind of change her name and disappear. That's one option, for example.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Um, does she like talk about any of this out loud? Once she's
Uh,
been given this drink, or is it just sort of like an internal realization?
I think that's the part she says aloud, and then looks at you, Tempest, and goes, "Or I could do something completely innocuous and non-illegal."
I think I think they do just chuckle a little and then move on to reorganize the furniture that they scattered all over the place now that she has been given this drink.
Yeah, and you probably leave Jelly Lady to her plotting. She kind of seems to appreciate a little time alone in the corner of this tavern.
Nice. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Go off and do different crime. Or maybe not crime. Whatever. Okay. So is there any skill wise, experience wise, anything that you need to transfer, Xander?
Um I don't think so, but I guess I could do that little 1 to 3 sentence narration for clean cut now since those
Hmm.
scenes sort of blurred together. I think I think Um, I think maybe kind of tying it into like this ice cube, not ice cube, salt cube, whatever. Like I think they kind of lean into like trying to make these more decorative elements to food and like practicing cutting things into like shapes and whatnot.
Nice. Cool. Then in that case, let's take our break. Maybe we just go for like a 10-minute one and then go straight through to the end of the stream, or do you want to do 5 and then another 5?
5 seems right.
Okay. Then let's do 5 as soon as morning confirms for us that we're good. I have an idea for what I would like to do after, and I think I want to do an NPC side quest, just because it would be fun to get cards out and dice. And I think it's probably something I can not whip through because that makes it sound like disregard it, but I think it can be like a nice, quick little zappy thing.
Now recording. Now recording. Now recording. Now recording. Now recording. Now recording.
Spaghetti. On the stream. I imagine they'll let us know.
Not
morning
seeing
being
any
that, but
notifications.
morning does say we're not audible. That's okay.
Briefly, I think. Yeah.
That might be the all caps wait.
There we go.
Looks like audible.
Right.
Back up. Okay. Spectacular. So we're back with the Roll Plus Bond second anniversary stream. Still going with Stewpot, and we had a very exciting brawl after establishing our tavern in quote marks called Spaghetti. Very poorly spelled. It's an acronym. We don't know what it stands for. I guess suggestions in the chat, maybe. If somebody wants to keep an eye on that, that would be hilarious. And after the fight, after we kind of talked down Angelica, Jelly Lady, Ladyfingers, we didn't really do much to talk down Mr. Downstairs.
I like to imagine the Cornell downstairs just kind of went away for a little bit and just kind of stewed.
Yeah, like to the break room, and they just kind of calmed themselves down, maybe. But yeah,
yelled a little bit about the space station actually being a very nice place.
Yeah, extremely nice place. And Tethys made a great drink that honestly I'm going to see what I can do to semi-recreate this evening because I want those little jelly balls. Okay.
Jelly bits.
I mentioned that I was kind of interested in an NPC side quest. And this might explain... I mean, I know this game is vignettes. It doesn't have to all be happening at the same time. But this might be what Spanner was doing during that kind of gentle drink making scene. So NPC side quest is a fun one where you use cards, just a regular deck of playing cards, which I have physically right here. And that probably sounded really bad, sorry. And also some dice, which I will not rattle. And I'm just going to use the creating a quest instructions. But I think what she's doing is she's in that sort of library space, the public open space that was mentioned to her. And this is not the first time she's been there, but someone comes up and here's what we do. I will draw a card. It is the King of Hearts. And that means it's a quest for dealing with pests. Okay? And the king means a noble is asking me, what does a noble mean in the context of this station?
It's like, maybe it's just the king of the moon.
Oh my god. Guess there's no reason it couldn't be. But I think the king of a very small moon.
Yeah, not like a big one. Like the Galilean moons, much smaller than those.
Okay. I mean, there are many people, who say it is an asteroid, and he gets very heated when that happens.
It's basically like he is the king of the moon, but the thing is that the reason that he's the king of the moon is because he went to this very small planetoid and pulled a sword from it that had stuck into it.
Oh, all right, love that.
So he's like, so he's kind of, so he does have like a very sharp space sword, but he is the king of the moon. But it's like the reason he's called the king of the moon is because the moon doesn't actually have a name.
Ah, there we go. I think, in terms of what I'm picturing, it's almost as comically small as the moon in The Little Prince. Like, it's, yeah, just about there, just about that sad level.
It's so small that he's taking it with him.
Oh, it's like on a leash. He like tethers it to wherever he goes.
I think he rolls it around like a boulder, and he sits on it when he comes to a rest somewhere.
Oh shit, that small. Okay, yeah, that is extremely funny. Okay, so let's find out how long it's going to take. The die roll tells me about complications. Oops. Oh, that's a 1. It's going to take a while. I need someone to cover my shift at the tavern. I think in that case, she mentions, she mentions offhanded to probably both of you, but just because we've had a lot of Tethys, I'm going to say, like, she mentions it to Devasha, like, can you take over for, like, just today, probably?
Never.
Oh. All right, what about a week?
Devasha thinks. A week. How long is a week?
She clicks her right hands. She has 2 of them, and she like clicks the fingers together as if she's counting, but it's more like a show, and goes, no more than 4 days. I think that's what a week usually is.
A month.
Okay, but you have to pay my vacation pay.
No.
Well, then a week.
A year.
This is exactly what takes to take a while. It's not even the quest; it's the negotiation with Devasha. And she's like, "Ooh, I don't think this is going to take me a year. So I'm actually just going to see if Cornell is free." But yeah, you can talk to them if you want to help out.
Go ahead, speak to them. I know you'll return soon enough.
And so I think she.
And then you will have to take. And then you will have to take the altered deal.
The altered deal. She is like walking away. And like, okay, send me a message about it. Just so I have all my ducks in a row. And then she sends a quick message to Devasha's like, hey, your schedule changed. You're covering for me today. I'll get you later. And like, like winky face, kissy emoji, like, you got it, bud. I feel like Cornell just likes being in the bar anyway, so it's gonna be fine. And that's the fun of an NPC. but yeah, like the request of the King of the Moon is that like I think the moon has fleas. Um and he like he comes like he came to her in the library to explain this. And he actually wasn't trailing the moon, which was uh not immediately notable because he's not that notable of a face without the moon. But he sits down across from her and is like, "Hey, you used to like do jobs and stuff." And she's like, "Excuse me, what? Who are you?" He's like, "It's the moon. I'm the king." And anyway, as it comes out, as it comes about, um the moon is outside because it has some like colorful little pests. I think it's again that kind of sparkly imagery from the Jelly Ladies thing. And uh, so let me see. I need to think about what experience I can. Damn, Fireball would have been so good for this.
The King of the Moon is like, please, my moon is cursed. Use your mighty fireball to cleanse it.
She's like, you know what? I don't think fire will interact properly with the moon itself. But don't worry. I'll have this taken care of in before the end of the day, because then I do have to get back to work.
Cleanse my moon, please.
And so she steps out. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I feel like you could consider getting rid of moon fleas a small wonder under prestidigitation.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of get some sleight of hand stuff going on. I'm writing down a memory really quick before I forget. So the quest is undertaken with I think she like throws together a little bag of some of her stuff that enables these like little wonders, and she goes suits up and like circles the moon a little bit. It's very small like smaller than a person. And sees these little flies, these little glowing flies. And I think, I know what it is. It's like she sets up something with a tuning fork and like a little like a little tiny packet of pheromones or something. And so she spreads those over a little containing thing, and then like with the tuning fork, I say tuning fork, but it's a little bit more sci-fi. There's some like other stuff, maybe a little amplifier dish or whatever, to resonate in a way that gets the notice of these things and startles them up off the moon, and then the pheromones attract them into the cage. And so she comes back with this like glowing orb. It looks very magical, and exciting. I think it's more of a triumphant return than exhausted or irritated, because she expected like she might just be able to get him gone and be like, okay, it's all done. Take a look at your moon and see
my
you at the
moon,
bar
it's
sometime.
clean.
Yeah. But what it is she comes back and it's like the light from this flea ball is like kind of glimmering, and I think she had arranged to meet him back in the library, and so it's like throwing these beautiful shadows and kind of coruscating off of any shiny surface in the library. And she goes like, "It is finished." I mean,
You have cleansed my
it's
moon?
the moon is clean. Like, she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like intone. It's just like this little orb kind of makes you feel like you have to." And she hands it over to him. And what did he promise to give in exchange?
I think he promised to knight you.
Oh, I love that. And she's like, when it was originally offered, she's like, "But not like money or anything." Like, and he's like, No. You will have the the honor of paying fealty to me." I'm like, "Oh, well." And he's like, "And it comes with a great title." I'm like, "That sounds acceptable."
I think he gives you a parcel of land on the moon.
Okay. Yeah. And so with all of that, she comes back for her next shift, wearing like a sash, because I think it comes with something like that too, like those fancy sashes with a little brooch on it. But the Moon King does not have the resources to give you a fancy brooch metal situation. It's just like some cloth tied in a sash. It's not bad cloth, but yeah. So she
It's like
comes back into work.
like those things that like that like ribbon that goes around your shoulder and like around your waist, like the kind of thing that like mayors stereotypically wear.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's a
that's what I'm
sash,
talking
right?
about. Yeah, that's a sash.
And it says in like Arial font Moon Knight.
Spectacular. Yeah, and I guess then for the end of the game, I have used prestidigitation, and is this perhaps keen observation? I don't think it's quite jury rigging. Well, I did jury rig the apparatus together. Yeah, I'll go with that one. But the way that actually pans out for the little three sentence scene, which, what a goal. I don't think I've ever stopped at 3 sentences in my life. But it's a few days later, maybe a week later, trying to fix something in the bar. And she's not wearing the Moon Knight sash anymore because, it's it gets in the way a little bit. But what she does is she urgently needs something to be either tied down, or a dripping hole needs to be stopped up temporarily. And the Moon Knight sash gets whipped off the wall. Whatever the problem element is gets like lashed down with a fun fancy knot that kind of pulls it to where it needs to be, or like pulls the the drooping pipe up to where it needs to be. And then when she finishes, she like claps her hands, like dusts her hands clean, and is like, yeah, there we go. And I think that's the end of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see something from Devasha. Do you have any games calling your
Market Day? Let's go with Market Day.
Ooh, let me scroll. Wait a second. Sorry. I think we have reached the point where we need to do the what's it called? Every 3 games.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping that we go like the entire 4 hours and Devasha never actually appears.
But I like him. I think he's very funny. Oh, okay, that's right. It's wear and tear.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, so technically, we are supposed to use wear and tear as the break time, but we've been taking our own breaks. So thank you. Designer, but we are taking care. Where is it though? Wear and tear. I feel like I'm almost scrolled to it.
Page 15 on the spreads.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, what kind of things do we want to focus on for touching it up?
Mm-hmm. I like the idea that it's I like the idea that the tavern is just kind of hard to get to.
Oh, okay.
You have to like kind of make several. You kind of have to. I think it's like I think it's like set in like a like we've put this tavern in a slightly disused part of the station because that's where we could find the space.
Yeah.
So there's just like so you have to like make your way through a bunch of messed up corridors or like just kind of wedge yourself through just kind of wedge yourself in like very dodgy architecture just kind of get here. Which is why most of our clientele are like either very determined like the King of the Moon, or very flexible like Jelly Lady.
So that's something that we're going to work on is making it more accessible, less of a it's not a secret, but like less of a trial to get to.
Yeah, you'll note that like the problem with this tavern is that it's not very vertebrate accessible. Pretty much all of our employees and most of our clientele are invertebrates or robots.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So what work are we doing? We take turns describing it. There are some prompts. But we can also kind of go off on whatever tangent.
Hmm. Yeah, I think let's see. Yeah, I think I want to. I think I will. I think Dvasha probably asks another person for help, possibly Tethys.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the idea is that the idea is like what Dvasha wants to do is find a what Dvasha wants to do is like basically steal another spacecraft and attach it to this one to create like our very own airlock. So you have like so you can access it directly from space.
Mm-hmm.
So that we have essentially our own little we have essentially our own storefront here. We can like we can actually take on ships that arrive.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
The problem is that while Dvasha is fairly good at finding stuff, he needs like a slightly more. I think he needs like a very specific kind of. I think he needs a very specific kind of like docking port and like a very specific docking module.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
I'm like helping make that.
I think you're helping find it. Like the raw
Okay.
materials are the problem. Dvasha can do like the crafting.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing like in this case like in this case, I'm picturing that he asks you to find this one particular type of ship that he's seen but doesn't know where to find.
Yeah.
And he'll take care of he'll take care of the actual process of like tracking the ship, stealing it, bringing it over here, and he's kind of repurposing it for a reception area.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. So like, is he asking me to like steal someone's ship, or do you mean steal like
No.
a ship that like someone's not using?
Steal a ship. I think Vasha thinks about this and goes, probably one that nobody is using. But if you can see one that would be fun to steal, do inform me.
Okay.
I can turn these around. I have contacts.
Oh. Yeah. Tethys they'll help out. I guess they can probably find like I think like we talked about junk being used to like make or rebuild the station, so maybe there's still like junk in various parts of our orbit or something, and it's just a matter of like locating and identifying and finding the trajectory to what you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think once we manage to like find the trail, essentially, Dvasha is just able to. Dvasha is able to just Dvasha has nimble fingers. No lock stays locked. No trap can catch you. So Dvasha just has so Dvasha can both steal ships that are Dvasha is great at both like scavenging ships as well as stealing ones that are actively occupied, which he puts to great use here.
Yeah.
I do want to interject since we're talking about making spaghetti more like accessible to the public. Ruth Cookie in the chat did come up with Space Place, also great honking extraterrestrial iron thing, which is none of it wrong. Just to bear in mind.
Kind of fantastic Google Translate title, really.
It does sound Google Translated for sure. But yeah. So what does Tethys find?
It's so how old because we have to find the specific stuff for Dvasha. So how old do you think Dvasha is HB?
Dvasha, like I think Dvasha himself is anywhere from a century to 4 centuries old.
Okay.
And I think Dvasha has I think when Dvasha explains like what he needs, you realize that what he's looking for is like a specific aesthetic from an age of space that he remembers.
Yeah. Okay.
He like has a little you could he talks like somebody who's put together a mood board for what he would like this reception area to look like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think I find like half of a very, very old ship in one of these like debris and junk areas, and I think it's like in the center of it, and it's a little bit of an ordeal to like get in there and get it out, but they do eventually get it or like find this for you and presumably work with you to finagle it out of there for us to use.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's our part of this.
Cool. Let me see. So we have to use our. Oh, we could just learn from observation. We don't necessarily have to do an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, was I supposed to like use one of my experiences in that?
It could have been.
Yeah. It does say
Okay.
use. It does say describe how you combine one of your experiences with one of theirs to great effect.
Okay, yeah.
Doesn't have to be your adventure experience. Could also be one of your. Could also be one of your town experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a really good point. Okay.
Yeah. I guess this can still be a used one. It just doesn't get burned or triggered or whatever again. But I suppose the obvious one is tracking for me. Follow any trail. I don't know.
That makes sense, though. Yeah. Huh. I think I would kind of like to, like, I know I'm not the one angling to be a chef, but I do like the prompt that says you come up with the perfect food or drink to give everyone some energy. Um, because I think that's very funny, like trying to think what can energize and a like a probe person, and then also like what will a nudibranch want, and then a stick bug. Like, so I think like working hard as everyone is, I think you would assume like, oh, something cool to drink, but it's actually more um, because it's very cold out in space at this moment. We're like on the shade side of stuff, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So people come in and they're like, yeah, the spacesuits, they work, but the cold still, like the knowledge of the cold is also cold making. And so what what what's my name? What Spanner has done is like boiled up uh some it's sort of like a tea and sort of like a soup. It's got a lot of like the broth is very tea like, but then it's got uh, some like leftover stuff from the little garnish bar like that the bar has, because I think we're working when it's off hours. So it's like some extra limes and some extra grapefruits like into this sort of soup thing. And I think it's pretty nicely salted. I actually don't know what nudibranchs need in their nutrition, but they live in the ocean, so salt is fine. And then so like she hands some over to Tethys for them to enjoy, and then like once it's drained but the container is still hot, She like kind of pushes it over, like nudges it in the direction of Dvasha, so he can like either just kind of like scrunch it onto his body, like use it like a hot water bottle or whatever. I don't know. Eat it, flatten it out, turn it into a nice radar dish or something. But yeah, like
Wait, what was it?
It's like the container. It's like a little, like a small pot that was holding the tea soup that Tethys and I just drank.
And Dvasha looks at the bowl, and Dvasha looks at the bowl, and you get this, and you hear a sound like imagine a foghorn, but like at the very edge of your hearing.
Oh, okay.
And Dvasha asks, "Where is the soup?"
Oh, it's mostly been ingested, but there's a little bit left.
Hand it over.
Did you? It's in the. Swirl the thing around. Swirl it, and you'll see it. It's on the inside of the. It's on the inside of the bowl, not the outside.
Dvasha looks at the inside of Dvasha looks at the inside of the bowl. A paltry amount, but it will do. And kind of a little straw comes out of the like the big heterogeneous body of Dvasha, just kind of submerges into the soup, and just kind of slurps it all up, like this kind of sound comes out.
Spectacular. Oh my god.
The straw draws back in and goes, an adequate sample.
Perfect.
You can keep the bowl.
Oh, I don't need it. I guess we can. Well, you know what? We'll use it for decoration, I'm sure. And she just kind of like tosses it onto a pile for later.
Actually, no, I think when you say decoration, like Dvasha thinks better of it, and then like lifts up the bowl and just kind of affixes and does affix it to his body.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I think that's wear and tear. Like, which tavern rating is this? It's got to be the atmosphere, maybe.
I think it's atmosphere, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think what this actually looks like is, I think the aesthetic of it is like let me just, yeah, I think this picture is right.
Pictures.
There's like a there's like a like there's like it's kind of I think the new chic of the I think it's like aluminum foil chic. Like it's like the new reception area is very shiny and very foil-like, a little bit crumpled. Covered in like this kind of old stencil, like from like space programs too old to even remember. Like this little Soyuz spacecraft is like is like my pull for what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And I think the talent experience that I want to derive from this is patron, because I think no sooner has Dvasha finished his work on this that like he puts in an application to like recognize this is a historic site. So now we have a wealthy benefactor, which is the Museum of Space History, of which we are now an official outgrowth.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. We're about to hit the hour, which to me means one last break and then come back and do, what was it you said, market day? And then see how we want to start wrapping up. So let me make sure I have got the attention of our very good host. But while we're waiting for that confirmation, I've noticed, or I finally was able to get myself into Tiltify, and we are currently at, switching. We are, there it is. We are currently at, oh, I can't see it. It's being blocked by all these add-ons. $105 raised for our charity, which you can donate to yourself or find out more about by doing !donate in the chat. It's the Native American Rights Fund, which prioritizes preserving tribal existence, mostly in the US, but I think they will do some cross-border things, protecting tribal natural resources, promoting Native American human rights, holding governments accountable to Native Americans, and developing Indian law, and working on educating the public about said law. So I want to read some of the names we've got so far before we hit our break. So many tabs up. It is out of control. We were started off by Wyatt, thank you, and Fireblend. Mad5 also hit us, and Marin, a few anonymous people, and Morgan. So thank you so much, everybody. And we're going to take a break, come back in 5 minutes. So that'll be 5 minutes after the hour. And we'll wrap up Stewpot by Takuma Okada. Right.
So yeah,
So
mark a day
we're
off the clock and
live.
in the rhythm of things.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so we're live again. The only thing you missed is we had a little chat about what we think we might do for the last few games, as in 50 minutes, we're going to have the next game on the stream, which is Be Fey Do Crime by our server Zona Dela, run by Lofty Inclination. So we're going to wrap up with Takuma Okada's Stewpot. And we had said Devasha was going to go shopping.
The thing about market days that a lot of players can play is just that
For
we
sure.
can have several buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, market day. So yeah, so anyone can play. Players choose between being a buyer or a seller. There must be at least one of each. And yeah, I think Devasha is a buyer here.
Okay. It's a little bit too small worldy, but what if Jelly Lady is now a seller of things?
Do we come up with a new name for her that still translates to Jelly Lady?
Oh, like she took on a whole new identity?
But still known as Jelly Lady.
Huh.
It's a legal thing.
Sure. Well, her last name is now Lady Hawk.
Angelina. I don't know other names that have gel in them besides variants of Angela.
Andrea. And it's a mispronunciation. No, I think it's funny that it's Angelina. Like Angelica to Angelina. She's like, yeah, it's different.
It's good enough.
Different, I'm different. Look at the last name, Lady Hawk.
It has to be clever about it. It's mostly computers doing these searches anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So what's Dvasha looking for?
I think I am looking for. I think I'm looking for an affordable telescope.
Okay.
It's for my proposed Starlight booth, which is where you get dinner as well as a show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it difficult to find? It's the affordability aspect.
Yeah, I think it's not so much as difficult to find like a proper telescope, but I think it's difficult to find one that would fit on our in our restaurant.
Oh, very good point.
Oh man.
Did you want to be the Jelly Lady, Xander, or do you want me to?
You can go for it if you want. I don't have a strong opinion either way.
Okay. I do. Or I do want to do her. I think it'll be fun. So she has instead of like bead lights or not lights, instead of like a bead curtain for her door, it's little like dangling lights. And then also like you step through and there is an actual door. But that's kind of like it evokes her tentacles. It's kind of whimsical and fun, but then she's still not like whimsical. She's still kind of snappy and grumpy. But yeah, the visual cue is that like that sort of eye-catching lights in the door. And as Devasha rolls up, she looks up from like she's sorting a bunch of components, and I'm vague because there's so many different things, but she's just sorting them all through, and she goes, "You look familiar."
I cannot imagine why.
I mean, many people do have many sharp lines. I guess everyone is made of matter. And she like jiggles. She's like, but it's not. You know what? Okay, what are you looking for, bud?
I've trawled this market in the search of a telescope.
I can probably help you with that. And she like stands up and squishes over to like some sort of file apparatus, and looks through it, and she's like, okay, we've got this one floating out in space. I do have the rights. I have all the paperwork for it. Probably about 200 meters long, I would say. Excellent resolution, although it's old. And the age makes it very affordable. What do you think?
I need a small one.
Oh, okay. A small one. Small one. And she like taps her tentacles on her chin on the bottom of her bell. And a small one. And she was like, oh yes. And she shows you to a side room where there's like a bunch of different things on tripods. There's like a camera. There's the sort of, what's it called? Like you put coins into it and you can see, like they'll be at scenic overlooks. It's sort of like binoculars plus telescope.
I think I like binoculars, right?
Yeah, it might be.
It's like I also don't know what they're called.
It's just like a sightseeing binoculars, but stuck on a pole. But there's some of those. There's like other scientific equipment that doesn't have any sort of imaging capacity. It's just like on tripods. She's like, take a look around here. Gotta be a telescope in there somewhere. And she kind of peers at it herself, but is letting you take the lead.
This is all consumer grade stuff.
And so, what's the purpose of this telescope going to be?
To reveal the mysteries of the universe to our clientele, who can pay for the appropriate booth.
Mysteries of the universe. Okay. You know what? It would be a little bit of a delay, but I think we could probably just take the important parts out of the big telescope, kind of reconfigure them, make something custom. That would only probably run you, I don't know, 300 plus time plus. It's going to be a total of 550 because I don't know you. And she like does a jellyfish wink, like because you're a stranger.
Vasha does not seem to respond anyway and goes, what sort of telescopes are you familiar with?
Me?
Any nearby?
Oh, I'm talking about the big one. The big one that's too big for your restaurant. But I think we can cut it down. We can move some pieces around. And you would have more control over the design.
Vasha thinks.
Tick, 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 tick.
Imagine these little metal like antenna like limbs just kind of tapping on the counter as Dwasha considers this offer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know of any telescopes that are not yours?
Oh. She like flicks a switch and it turns off the lights in the door, like the bead lights, And she's like, let's take a walk. Because she doesn't want to be discussing this in her place of reputable business. And like as you guys walk through the as they walk through the what's it called? Like through the hallways and like busy corridors, there's like some coded talk, and she's like, yeah, for like a brokerage fee, I'll be happy to hook you up with the coordinates of three or four interesting uh possibilities.
Mm-hmm. I offer an alternative deal.
Okay. Is
Give me
any
the
of it-
coordinate. Give me the
Uh-huh.
coordinates of these 4 telescopes, and I will deliver you 3 of them.
Done.
And Dwash extends like an antenna limb, but like you know those antennae that just kind of have these kind of 3 little prongs at the end. Just kind of extends one of those to shake.
Nice.
So it's like a tentacle wraps around the antenna, and then they shake, and there is like I think there's like a sequence where I think there's like a sequence of little like news stories of like particular telescopes mysteriously going missing as Dvasha uses his substantial expertise in acting undetected to just kind of steal 4 telescopes.
Nice. Cool. Was there any? I don't think there's anything that I'm thinking of for Market Day. But what about Tethys?
I also don't think there's anything I'm thinking about for Market Day.
Oh. Well, then maybe is there anything that Cornell downstairs might, and we could kind of do them as an NPC? I also think actually just one shopper is totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mark down the town experience of Crafter. And just have and I think what happens is that there is a new booth now there's the new booth now in Spaghetti, which just kind of gives you an idea of what the inside of a radio telescope is like.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's got lots of little glowy bits and bobs and a lot of like visualization tools to just kind of give you this just kind of show you these interesting landscapes of space in general.
Mm-hmm.
And you are like in the booth where you can eat, and also science happens while you eat.
Nice.
Nice.
It's actually I feel like it's still kind of huge, much like the telescope was probably pretty big, but it is like repurposed enough that it feels almost like a like that chamber in that part of Cloud City where Luke nearly falls down the shaft. Like Luke near actually he does fall down the shaft, right?
Yeah, he super does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like that, but you're like eating on a catwalk, and it's a bit smaller than that.
That's really cool. Very
Like a very
scary.
cavernous booth.
I like that. Oh, that's cool. I think that probably like that's probably a pretty big draw.
It's the VIP lounge.
Yeah, but it's like actively very cool as well.
Uh-huh. We can't advertise it very much though, because it's stolen. Ooh. Keep hearing these chirps.
There are a lot of birds going on in my background. Let me.
Oh, I like them. Is the thing.
Well, no, I just was checking to see if they were pinging, making my circle flash green. They don't seem to be, but maybe you hear them when I talk. Like they might not be enough to actually like activate the mic on their own. But interesting. Yeah, it's what 4:30, so I guess the birds are getting excited for the end of the workday. I don't know. But yeah, so I think
Even
that's
birds have
market
to get
day.
off work sometime.
I guess so. Let's have a look then. We were thinking we would do the off the clock, kind of everybody relaxing, and then wrap up the game. I think about half an hour is just right.
Yeah. So what was the next game? Festival Day? Or
Off
was
the
it?
clock.
It was off clock.
Yeah. I think that was a really good suggestion. So we'll basically find out like what does everybody do? Where do you go after the tables are wiped down? Who's heard every story you have about the worst people who have walked in? Like what what bar do we go to relax at, or like other general kind of relaxation? So what we do is we describe the first thing their character does to wind down, let loose, or otherwise forget about work for a while. And I have an idea, but it's not very in depth. It's just more of a little snippet. But I can go first.
Sounds good.
Okay. It's kind of related to the third prompt. It's the middle of summer. It's scorching, and you desperately need to swim. Where's the secret spot? But I don't think it's specifically that. It's more of like in the space station we have gravity, but it's a little bit lower than most of us are used to. And the especially for people who have been crew on a ship that is traveling, is there's a lot of time where you don't have gravity. And so the thing that sort of corresponds to this like secret swimming hole is like everybody's got access to a spacesuit for like I believe I used one earlier, but in this particular case, it's like everybody suits up, and Spanner leads people around to like a really good, like it's kind of the way the space station's exterior frames, like you can feel like you're sheltered, but you can still get a view of the vastness of the moon or the planet, depending on how things are moving. But there's like a lot of like plenty of space for a few different people to latch on and just kind of drift and float and like zone out, I guess. So that's definitely what she likes to do, and something that she will share with either of your characters if they're interested.
Yeah, I think Tethys would definitely be down to just vibe there with you.
Nice. Is there like what kind of thing will Tethys do like on their own time?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a first thing that isn't one of these action prompts.
Mhm.
I think that I think they'll just like go on like long meandering trips about or like sometimes even around the space station, like around literally like on a tether or whatever, like just like for walks, you know.
Are you saying you're going on spacewalks?
Those spacewalks and inside space station walks.
Oh, okay. Like strolling, kind of like strolling the.
Yeah. Yeah.
What what's like? Is there anyone that you commonly come across, and whether or not you actually talk, you like do a little nod or wave or like.
Yeah. I think it's less of a commonly come across thing and more of a like they sort of go on these strolls to see like what's new, because I feel like there's a lot of shifting people and temporary places and temporary junk on this station.
Yeah. Nice. I don't know if this is a question that can be answered, but how does Dvasha unwind or like relax?
I think Dvasha frequently goes out to dance clubs.
Amazing. Okay.
And just spends
Are
like
there many to choose from? Station.
I think there's like a 0G one and then like a spinning one where you can like do like when you can do dancing under gravity. And I think the thing is that Dvasha prefers the ones under gravity because then he can really pull out some moves.
Yeah.
Because the interesting thing is that he can he can like do stuff like I think he actually arranges his antennae into like an improvised sort of skeleton.
Oh my god.
Like something between a humanoid skeleton and a buckyball in like its structure.
Spectacular.
And he just like pulls out moves that people it just like pulls out moves that he just pulls out the most impressive moves in general. This is something like he's clearly spent a lot of time getting good at. You could almost say that he has extraordinary agility.
Maybe you could. It's funny. That's great. I love that.
Like people occasionally take video of him, and people occasionally take video of him, and and it makes the rounds. They're never like especially viral posts, but but there are sometimes slightly viral posts.
Nice. Let's see. There is the option to talk about more ways. Like other ways that we relax, or we can look at the time and realize we have to get back to work, which is such a good phrasing.
Yeah. I don't know how much we're going in a circle or if it's just like whatever, but I guess maybe have an idea.
Yeah, fully freeform. Go for it.
I looked at the middle of summer, it's scorching and you desperately need to swim one also.
Mhm.
And I think there's points not summer, but like sometimes the space station sort of like overheats a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's old and janky, but I think there's like there's a place that's like an old cryo chamber or something. I don't know the logistics or whatever, but like
Oh, that rocks.
basically it's been repurposed into like a laser tag, but it's like cold, so like indoor snowball fights, I guess. But like Tethys will just kind of go and hang out in there when the space station overheats, because they're not the most built for like super hot anything.
Let's see. How else is... Kai, did you pass?
I was actually distracted because Ruth Cookie gave us another one in the chat for what spaghetti stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes a little more off the rails, but it starts so strong with Super Party Arena Gathering and Happy Entertaining Towering Inferno. So right up until the end. It's right on target. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to join in the cryo,
Yeah.
the cryo thing, and just kind of like talk a bit. And I know it says role play it out, but I don't have a
Yeah.
specific idea. I am thinking though of like, I don't think we've like. There's always more time to talk about like, what's a cool thing that you did, before this job, or like what's an interesting
Yeah.
thing that happened on like the day that I wasn't in, or whatever.
Yeah. So it's just like the two of us, like, I don't know, like just talking about this stuff, sitting in a corner of this snow laser tag place, and probably eventually getting like chased out. Like, what are you doing just sitting back here? You didn't pay to be here this long or whatever. And just running out after just this bonding time or something.
Yeah, I love that, because also the visual of the like all of the limbs of the stick bug and all of the kind of like squishinesses of the nudibranch like at high speed. Oh, it's truly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that's a pretty.
It's just like
Mhm.
it's just like some like clacking stick sounds and like blurs of color as we run.
Yes, definitely. I feel like some of the belts are more like streamers, that kind of thing. So it's like whoosh,
Yeah.
like streaming behind. So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think unless you had another idea, HB.
I do have another idea.
Oh, spectacular. Okay.
One thing you need to know about Dvasha: extremely good dancer, but also extremely bad at laser tag.
Oh, amazing.
Because and I think part of it has to do that a part of it is the thing that I think something within Dvasha just responds extremely well to being hit by lasers in space. It's just the way he's built. So every time he like goes out to do laser tag, what happens is like he gets tagged pretty much constantly.
Yeah.
And he forgets that that's supposed to be a bad thing every time. Like he goes out, gets tagged, realizes that in laser tag that I've never actually played laser tag. What happens is that they like hit you and then you have to like return somewhere to like recharge, right?
It depends on the game and the venue, I think, but the experiences I've had,
sometimes it's just time.
it just like you lose points, or it might cut off your laser gun for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, so that you can't immediately shoot the person who shot you.
Yeah. I like the idea that Dwasha has to go back. So what happens is that every time Dwasha comes out, goes like, okay, I'm going to kill. Okay, I'm going to kill at this, but and then gets hit and just goes shit. Just goes back. Then just goes back, resurrects himself basically. Comes back, goes like, yeah, this time I'm gonna get it right, and he doesn't get it right any of the times, and he gets increasingly and kind of adorably frustrated.
Is this at the same time like we're in there too? Are we just like watching from afar, amused?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. There definitely might come a point. Well, I know that there's absolutely a point where Spanner turns to Tethys and is like, "Should we help him? Like, think we should do like a laser tag tutoring session, or?"
I don't know. I'm sure he'll figure it out eventually. Like, this can only happen so many times, right?
I don't know if. Here's the thing. Maybe this is a show. Maybe this is all maybe this drama is a performance. We'll just have to maybe ask him about it next time we see him. Although who knows if it'll be an honest response. And I think like, not to make the game part too literal, but I think she does like check her computer or whatever. Is like, you know what? This is a good time to ask him, because we do have to head back to work. You're on today, right? I know he and I are.
Yeah.
All right. And so yeah, I think we like head down. Like, we can see that the session is ending soon, and as he comes out, like, I don't know, HB, do you want to do it out loud, or just kind of summarize the, like, no, this is real frustration?
It is absolutely real frustration. And I think the thing is that this leads into what his town experience is from this. Which is that I think he comes back to he comes back to spaghetti, and is always like so pissed that he spends like a whole lot of time practicing and developing acute manual dexterity. It never helps. If anything, he gets worse. Like the problem is not in him being a bad shot. He like becomes like even though he does become like an even better shot with time, and like develops like a lot of skills, just kind of like doing fine work, like juggling plates, doing that sort of thing. So he like really diversifies his stuff, and it almost feels like he does a lot more work specifically because he gets so pissed off at being bad at laser tag. The one thing that he knows of that he's just extremely bad at. He's playing a game he is absolutely built. He's absolutely built to fail at.
So many corners. Lasers love that.
Well, yeah, and also like
sucks it right in.
It's like imagine if somebody made a game that relied on you not being able to see. Well, actually, no, not you being unable to see, but you being like. Imagine if somebody made a game that relied on you not knowing the rules of the game. It's that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
The problem is you try to get better at the game, but that makes you worse at it.
Oh my god. So funny. Very briefly, before we go into the last thing, we got another donation from ACM and another one from Elliot. So that's very exciting. Thank you guys. I think when I get off stream, I'm going to take care of it, but I just can't put my focus far enough to enter PayPal information. But if you are curious about the charity we're fundraising for, you want to donate, you can type !donate in the chat, or just type donate.rollplusbond.com. And that'll take you straight to the donate place. What is the name of the last game? Because I've forgotten.
In the rhythm of
is
things.
in the rhythm of.
Nice. Okay. So, it's got a nice description. It's brief. It's time passes, rough edges are sanded down. Before you know it, life in town has become like breathing. You gather in your favorite part of the tavern and wonder where the time has gone. I think the favorite part might be the VIP Do Not Talk About It telescope booth.
The secret booth.
The secret booth.
Yeah, and like in the background, there's
Yeah.
just and in the background, there's like this elaborate visualization that Devasha worked to create, where all of this telescope information is translated into like these cosmic landscapes.
Mm. Yeah. That's extremely cool. So what is a habit that we've picked up from living in this town?
I know it is for Devasha, because like the thing is that before starting to work here, Devasha did not spend. Devasha is not really a person built for indoors, at least not originally. And the thing is that the habit he's picked up is spending time indoors. He actually is indoors now more often than not. Even though he can even though he does have like an engine and everything, he could take a flight off into space. But as time goes on, he started doing that less and less.
Mm.
I think a habit that Tethys has picked up is just sort of like settling down and like listening to people's stories and problems, because before this I think they were just sort of like all over the place and just like flying all the time, and now they've sort of settled down here, and there's something that's like familiar about like listening to what people have to say and making them a drink or food or whatever.
Hmm. That's really nice. For Spanner, I think what she's picked up is this like it's sort of a habit she would have had before, I think, but because it was more itinerant, or it was just on like the one ship, it could only go so far. But she's started like in absent moments, like carving kind of stories, but like also, it sounds dumb to call them instruction manuals, but it's like sharing of information, which is not just narrative, but like carving that kind of stuff in some of the hallways and some of like bare wall spaces. And I think other people get in on it too. Like some people want to throw some paint on there, but for Spanner anyway, her medium is always like etching or a little bit of carving. So just like as she passes somewhere, she might spend 5 minutes or on her 15-minute break, she will do like a passage on the ceiling or whatever. Some of it's information that she like knows from her experience, and other information stuff that she's been reading or that she has synthesized from the reading and the experience together. Like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense in the book, but now I understand what I was seeing because I saw it, like that kind of thing. So trying to share that back out in a sort of casual way. But yeah, so now we go to the questions, right?
Yep.
Back and forthing some questions.
Yeah.
Dvasha,
Mhm.
what was the worst dish you remember eating that one of us made?
The worst dish I remember eating that one of you made. I think there was this one. I think there was this one time where. I think there was this one time when, like, when Dvasha mentioned that when Dvasha mentioned something about like sipping sunlight, and you tried to turn that into a dish,
Okay.
and it had like radioactive isotopes in it. It was extremely bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of had to, kind of actually had to. I don't think Dvasha brought this up, but he had to like do some repairs on himself afterwards.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
I gave a probe diarrhea. Unfortunate. Unpleasant.
Oh.
Excellent.
I guess Spanner, what was the hardest part of fitting into the town?
Oh. I think she found talking to new people the hardest part, because sort of going back to what I mentioned before, like if you're on a small crew, you know those people and you're comfortable with those people. But when you have a variety of people passing through spaghetti, just passing them by on the street, you have to figure out what to do with that. So yeah, I think it was the gauging of like social interactions after so long wandering. Wait, HB didn't ask.
Let's see. Tethys, what touch have you added to make the place you live feel like home?
Oh god. Hmm. I imagine there. I think. I think something that like sort of like filters like the light in their room in such a way that it sort of like looks like foggy or sort of underwater or something like that. It's just sort of like a gentler light than, the inside of a space station.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that rules.
I want to follow up to Tethys. What surprised you the most about living in town?
I think it was just sort of like the like variety of people they could meet or like experiences they could have while still staying in one place. That's definitely like not what they thought being stuck on a space station would be like.
Nice. I think HB answered one, and I answered one, right?
Mhm.
Xander
Are there
answered
any
two.
others? Yeah. Are there any
Yeah.
others that are really calling to us? Like, if we don't want to do the full two per, that's totally fine.
Actually, I think I have one.
Hmm.
Spanner, what was the best dish you remember eating that one of us made?
Well, especially because Tethys is working on chefery, I think we'll go with something from that. And if it's if it's not too much of like a copycatting, I think they took that like sunlight that poetic sunlight description and made something which was actually like was not just palatable, but was fully excellent. Like, I imagine it probably had something to do with carrots, because they can definitely give you a lot of that, like, color literally, but also the flavor is quite bright. But yeah, I think it was probably just, I don't want to like say for sure what your character did, but I don't think it was like a big fanfare of like, everyone sit down, I have made. It was more like, okay, and here's a little snack. But like, when we have those bites, or Dvasha like slips in a little straw probe, it's like, oh dang, and like, is there more? Like that kind of thing.
I think besides carrots, like, we're ending this, so like it's gotta have some pasta, some spaghetti.
Oh, God, of course. Like little like handmade rigatonis that look exactly like the space station in which we reside. So cute. And with that, we are at 3 minutes to the end. So, is there anything either of you wants to mention or plug before we wrap up?
I guess there's technically one more question that either of you can ask Dvasha.
I know, but we have 3 minutes, and I'm tense about it.
Fair enough.
Do you? Yeah. Please submit it in the form of an essay. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll start. I'm Kai. I'm on Twitter with the same name, but I don't really do anything special there. I guess if you're in search of an editor, you can look me up at waityouwhat.com, and we can talk about your editing needs. What about you, Xander? Any plugs?
Yeah, I'm Xander. You can find me on both Twitter and Itch at Cosmic Kaiju.
NHB has again been eaten by their computer sound card, perhaps.
Oh no.
Well, anything that they care to plug will be put on the will definitely be available somewhere. There we go.
Hello.
I'm HB. I'm on Twitter, but I don't post anything there, so I don't know. That's kind of a wash.
Don't bother.
Also, just listen to These Flimsy Rituals. It's a good podcast.
Very cool. Very excellent plug. So, with 1 minute to go, that was Stewpot by Takuma Okada, and we used the very cool play sheet by Libby Horacek, and you can find that on the itch page for Stewpot. And someone just put the link to get Stewpot in the chat. So yeah, check it out. It's an excellent game. It's very beautiful to look at, very mellow and fun to play. And I've definitely played much more dramatic versions too. So you can get wild with it if you want. But yeah, stay tuned. The next game is Be Fae Do Crimes. It'll be interesting to see what they get up to. And yeah, peace out.
Bye bye.